Hey, what's going on, everyone? Evan and Jordan here from Battlehawk Armory. We are out at the range once again with the best PCC on the market, the JP-5. We took it out for its first range trip and had an absolute blast with it. We loved shooting this thing. We had originally intended on putting a suppressor on it, which was going to be a Thunder Beast Fly 9, one of our favorite 9mm suppressors, only to discover that we had not done our research and that the JP-5 is actually threaded 1/2x36, which our Thunder Beast Fly 9 was not. So we went back to the shop, figured everything out. What we've got now is a 1/2x36 direct thread mount attached to a HUXWRX Flow 9K Ti. So if you're not unfamiliar with the HUX Flow 9, it is a slightly thicker 9mm can, slightly larger diameter, so it is actually hub compatible. So the easy fix there was, since we are a fixed barrel carbine, we don't need pistons or anything like that, so we just spun out the booster assembly out of this HUX Flow 9K Ti and threw in a 1/2x36 direct thread mount. So we should be ready to shoot it and have a little bit of fun suppressed and find out if this JP-5 is just a competition rifle or if it is truly something that you could use for home defense and things like that. So we've got some ammo here. Jordan, what do we have today?
So we have Fiocchi 158 grain subsonics. I think we're going to be starting with Fiocchi 124 grain supersonic to kind of get that dichotomy of supers and subs. And I think we also have some of the Sierras that we shot in the original video as well, just to represent a defensive round. So we really kind of run the gambit of ammo choices that we could possibly put through that can and through the rifle.
Yeah, range ammo, supersonic ammo, subsonic ammunition, and some defensive stuff. Got some Glock mags filled up. Should be a lot of fun. Kind of shaking this JP-5 out one more time. I'm certainly not upset about having to bring this thing out another day. So definitely going to be a lot of fun, especially shooting suppress. So let's go ahead and get to some shooting and figure out what this JP-5 is all about with a suppressor installed.
Let's do it. All right, so we're back out here with the JP and the HUXWRX Flow 9K. We're going to start with kind of a modified build drill. 3 targets, 2 each, and we're going to see how she goes. So I actually picked up all those shots, so it wasn't terribly quiet. So suppressors do a great job of mitigating recoil on a rifle, but on the JP-5, there's not that much recoil to mitigate in the first place. It is so soft shooting that you don't really notice the difference in the recoil. What you notice is kind of the blast or the shockwave off of the muzzle brake. So it's a lot nicer to shoot without that muzzle brake porting gas just in your face, around the target, anything like that. So it is a little bit more pleasant to shoot overall, I think.
All right, so 4 rounds, all in the alpha. As Jordan kind of pointed out, there's still really not much more recoil and or sight disruption with this JP-5 with the roller delay system that it utilizes. But we have kind of deleted some of that muzzle blast. So just shooting some supersonic Fiocchi 124 grain ammunition here. It's not all that quiet. This isn't that large of a suppressor, but it's still a lot of fun, definitely viable tool. Whether you want to shoot it at the range or shoot it indoors, definitely makes it a little bit nicer. So I think what we'll do now is we'll top these magazines back off, see if we've got another drill or two that we can run, and then we'll switch over to some subs.
1.57. I'm not seeing any Charlies. Looks good so far.
Yeah, I mean, this rifle just shoots fantastic. That was 140. I'm shooting a super tight knot right in the center of that target. It just does not move. 126. It certainly is not going to get much better than that, if at all. Again, walking down to my target here, you can see I'm ripping this JP-5 about as quickly as I possibly can. About 7 yards downrange, about a fist-sized group right there in the center of the target. Just shot, I don't know, 3 or 4 bill drills, all alphas. Again, guys, if you have not tried a JP-5, you absolutely need to. It is just a treat to shoot. Fantastic rifle, fantastic suppressor host. But let's go ahead and switch over to some subsonic ammunition and give that a run and see how we think this thing does with some subsonic ball ammo.
That was nutty. Yeah, that's so quiet.
One of the things that I noticed from back behind the camera was this thing is absolutely ridiculously quiet without the subsonic, or with the subsonic ammunition rather. So quiet, in fact, I went ahead and pulled my ears off, and I mean, I would certainly say to my ears this is hearing safe with these Fiocchi 158 grains. But let's see what it's all about. Let's give her a run with some subs. Modified bill drill. Yeah, so that was so quiet. The timer only picked up 3 shots, so 0.66. The recoil is essentially non-existent. This thing is fantastic. I love this JP-5.
That's nasty. Nothing.
Yes! 0.01 seconds. I win. No, just kidding. This thing, once again, absolutely phenomenal. So far, so good. We are probably approaching at least 1,000 rounds through this JP-5 since we pulled it out of the box. Subsonic, supersonic, hollow points, it has fed everything so far. No issues whatsoever. I did lubricate it and inspect everything before we started shooting it, but nothing since then. Suppressor, no suppressor, 115s, 124s, 158s, and some hollow points. It's fed everything. This rifle is just fantastic. So realistically, it has checked every single box. It is an absolute blast to shoot. Very low recoil, tolerates the suppressor well. Can't say enough good things about it.
All right, so we're going to be running a little bit different modified bill drill now. So what we've done is we've loaded the bottom 6 of this magazine with subsonics and the top 6 with supersonics, just to really give you the illustration of the difference between the two. So what I'm going to do is start the timer, 6 on one target, which will all be supersonic, and then 6 on the other target, which will all be subsonic. That's crazy. The difference is night and day, but really the recoil difference between the two is very, very similar. It's not any different. Which in a lot of guns, you will actually see a huge difference between supersonic and subsonic in the recoil pattern and ejection pattern, but this just eats it all.
All right, that right there is our first stoppage in well over 1,000 rounds. That was a sub, so that was my first round with the sub. Looked like it didn't go quite into battery. Actually, that is probably faulty ammunition. Looks like we had a really good primer strike on that. I'll go ahead and seat that back in the magazine, give it one more whack, and see if it wants to go. Yep, that round doesn't want to go. Moving on. All right, and we'll see if the ammo wants to play nice this time. One Charlie on my transition, but boy, that was cool. The sound difference between the subsonic and the supersonic ammunition is shocking, but this JP-5 is chugging through all of it, no problems whatsoever, so long as the primers actually work. So just like we did unsuppressed, we want to test some of the Sierra 124 grain THP hollow points in the suppressed JP-5. So again, Sierra THP 124s. I actually have a full Glock 19X magazine, and we will top it off. So we'll have 20 rounds. That's a full box of THPs right there. And we'll just go ahead and let these kind of run out onto the target. Got our mag seated. We'll see how she does. As we experienced unsuppressed, this JP-5 has no issues feeding hollow points whatsoever. In fact, that is another 20 alpha down range with some hollow points. So far, again, this JP-5 is checking every single box possible. We got a little bit more ammo. We'll go ahead and shoot some plates and wrap the day up. All right, so here we are at the end of our second range day with the JP-5. Today we were out largely to see how it would do suppressed. Jordan, what are kind of some of your thoughts about this JP-5, especially as it pertains to shooting it suppressed?
I was very interested to see how it would actually perform while suppressed. seeing that it is so soft recoiling already, being without any suppressor. And with the HUX Flow 9K, HUXWRX whole thing is low back pressure on a lot of their cans, so it eliminates a lot of that gas actually coming back into the rifle. So I actually had a concern of it getting enough gas to run, enough gas to actually cycle the system, and it didn't seem to care at all. It ran perfectly suppressed, unsuppressed, supersonic, subsonic, hollow points. It ran it all without any hiccups other than the one that was based on the actual primer being bad and not firing. So it performed perfectly, especially suppressed. I don't know if it's anything to do with the suppressor, but actually we noticed that the heat dissipator, thermal dissipator here is a lot less hot today. That might be because the outside temperature today is probably a lot cooler than the other day. But overall, this ran very, very cool, even with a suppressor on it, which is very, very nice as well.
Yeah, so essentially, we're well over 1,000 rounds at this point. We have seen 0 stoppages and or malfunctions of any type, sans for the one round of subsonic ammunition that clearly just had a faulty primer in it, with 1 lubrication. So definitely a reliable firearm. Again, you can see in the shooting footage, this thing shoots just fantastic. Can't say enough good about how it actually feels to shoot. I think, kind of speaking specifically to the suppressor, this was definitely an interesting day at the range. First of all, with this HUX Flow 9K Ti, you and I have shot this quite a bit. In our experience, this has never really been that quiet or that high performing of a 9mm suppressor, which isn't really what it's meant to be. So no real fault there aside from, hey, it is small, it is light, it is low back pressure. Didn't really know how quiet it was going to be on this JP-5. It was insanely quiet with the Fiocchi 158 grain stuff. The rifle shot fantastic. Speaking specifically to the ammunition, we've run a wide array of ammunition through this firearm, both suppressed and unsuppressed. It is a roller delayed firearm, so there is not really any gassing concerns to speak of, or back pressure, things like that. It's kind of sort of recoil operated, but there are some rollers to delay it. You can fine tune this system by adjusting the locking piece in the actual bolt itself. So that basically just determines how much force is applied to those lockers or not. I kind of thought maybe when we shot like the 158s, 147s, hey, maybe we wouldn't have enough recoil energy to cycle the bolt as it shipped from JP. We might need to look at changing out the locker, maybe changing out a recoil spring or something like that. But this JP-5 did not care either suppressed or unsuppressed with any of the ammunition we shot today. Again, we've also been experiencing a crazy heat wave here in central Iowa, so this thing has been run really hard and got really hot. The thermal dissipator has always done a really good job, but I was a little concerned in this heat wave that we're in, although today is a little bit cooler, how this thermal dissipator barrel would do with us running the snot out of this thing with a suppressor on it. Due to the low back pressure nature, the flow-through nature of this 9K Ti, it really didn't get any hotter. In fact, to your point, Jordan, it was a little bit cooler. Still shot fantastic, and usually where the idea of suppressors make things shoot soft comes from is that they're just heavy. They're basically just weights that you're hanging on the end of your barrel, if nothing else. And this being a very lightweight titanium suppressor, I didn't know how it would perform, but honestly, it shot fantastic. This JP-5, again, it checks essentially every box we could ever want. Shoots fantastic as it ships from the factory, but there is more tuning you can do to get it to shoot even better. Is extremely reliable across all of the different types of ammunition that we shot through it. Suppressed, unsuppressed, ball ammo, hollow points, certainly a viable option if you want to use it for home defense, because it is so soft shooting, so much lower report than your true centerfire rifle calibers, and plenty of 9mm on deck to handle any situation. So really, this JP-5 to me is an absolute winner. It is a do-it-all rifle. No matter if you're looking for a rifle for home defense or playing at the range or taking out to compete, you can do about anything with this JP-5. Yep. If you have not shot a JP-5, if you know anyone with one, if you ever have an opportunity, whether you're considering purchasing one or not, certainly shoot one. It will absolutely put a smile on your face. This has been one of the most fun series of videos that we've ever shot. This has been an absolute treat to take out and shoot. If you guys have any questions about anything that you've seen regarding the JP-5, if you have any suggestions for things that you want us to take out and test, or just things that you want to see from us in the future, go ahead and leave those in the comments down below. We do read them, we do look at them, and we do try to cater to what you guys want to see. But we appreciate everyone tuning in, following along for this super fun ride with the JP-5. We will look forward to seeing you all very soon for another video.
Thanks for watching.